everyone, it is me Tanishka back with another video, this time on the brain, because as when I'm making this video in the month of May, and May is World Mental Health Awareness Month, so I just thought I'll make a small video about the brain. Today we are going to talk about the functional areas of the cerebral cortex and the cerebellum. But before we talk about them, let us know what a cortex is. A cortex is a multi-layered coating of neurons, or should I say a group of neurons. Those group of neurons together transmit electrical impulses and thus convey information, allowing us to think. So over here, this is a diagram or a picture which is color coded. In reality, our brain is not color coded, but I got this picture from Google which shows the different areas of the brain, and you can see they all are labeled with the functions over here. They all have various different functions, so that's what we are going to learn about. So the one over here, which is the occipital lobe, or the one in dark blue, is the visual area. It contains receptors for sight, image recognition, and image perception. So whenever we see anything, our occipital lobe helps us to find out what we are seeing, to decode the message. Next is the association area, which is the temporal lobe over here, the one in green. And in the inferior view or the bottom view, you can see it's over here. So the temporal lobes or the association area's function is to hold the short-term memory and maintain equilibrium and help us control our emotions, like when we are feeling happy or when we are feeling sad. The temporal lobe controls all of that. So the third one is the motion function area or the motor function area. Motion function area is also something you can call it, and it's over here, the yellow one, and you can see it over here as well, this one from the superior or the top view. And it helps in the function of voluntary muscles. Like for example, when you're moving your hand, you're telling your hand to move, which means the hand is moving voluntarily. So the motor function areas help control voluntary motion. Now, this is where stuff gets interesting. So the fourth one is Broca's area, which controls the muscles of speech. Here is Broca's area number 4. So, whenever we talk, we make noise with our mouths. And how do we make noise with our mouths? We move the muscles in our mouth. And the Broca's area helps us move the muscles to control the movement of the muscles in our mouth, which is really important. Otherwise, we will start talking like this. And that won't sound good. So yeah, any person who has any damage to these areas might find several difficulties in that kind of functioning. Like for example, if a person has a damage to the occipital lobe or the visual area, he might have difficulty in perceiving images and recognizing stuff, or he might not be able to see. So that's why we must take good care of our brain. Next, the fifth one is the auditory area. So if you see on this map, the fifth one is over here, just above the temporal lobe, and it's the one which is necessary for audition or hearing. Not the kind of audition you have for competitions and all that, for hearing I mean. So that is necessary for hearing, because whenever sound waves enter our ears, we just don't get sound just like that. They are conveyed through nerves and they get into the brain, and the brain makes sense of it and then transmits it to our ears via the nerves, and then we make sense of it. So our body is a marvel and we must take care of it, because all of these things happen in a fraction of a second and we just take them for granted. We must think of people who are not able to hear or not able to see, and then just appreciate the fact that we are blessed with all the senses. Now, I think that's enough for the auditory area. Let's move on to the next one, emotional area. So all of us are known to feel different emotions. That's what makes us feel who we are. That's what makes us human. We cry when we are sad. We smile when we are happy. And we go into fits of rage when we are angry. So, the emotional area, which is over here, controls the aspects which are pain, hunger, and our flight or fight response. So, our fight or flight response means that, for example, if a tiger is coming to you, your mind will just go blank. You will be like, oh my god, you'll be petrified with the prospect of facing that tiger, your fear. So your flight or fight response will get activated. Should I fight the animal or should I flee away? Like, you'll be in a confused state of what to do. And such states are really important because they make us do quick decisions, take quick decisions to escape dangerous situations quickly. I hope you understood that. Next, the seventh one is the sensory association area, which is over here. So, we all know that we have senses, but Aristotle created the myth that we have five senses. That's wrong. Depending on what you count as a sense, we have from 9 to 16 different senses, including the sense of feeling pain, the sense of balance, and the traditional five senses. So, our sensory association area helps us sense everything with the help of those senses, like sensing pain or seeing. It contains all the information to do that, and it helps us do all of that with efficiency. Next is the eighth one, the olfactory area. So the olfactory area is helping us to, smell. That's what we've got a huge nose for. Because whenever you smell a nice thing, such as a favorite perfume, you feel that bliss. But whenever you smell something you don't like, ugh, you just feel like fleeing from that place. Our olfactory nerve, which is present in our nose, carries the signals of the smell through the to the brain, and then the olfactory area in the brain makes sense of that, and thus we get to know, oh, it's a good smell or it's a bad smell. Because smell is a evolutionary thing for us, because when we did not have all the high tech technologies to find out whether a food is spoiled or not, we used to rely on our smell. If it was not smelling good, we would throw it away. It was smelling okay, we would assume that it's safe to consume or eat. Ninth one, which is over here in the parietal lobe. It is known as the sensory area, which is the area that controls the sensation from the muscles and the skin. It helps us feel, and it's because of that we get to know whether an object is hot or cold, whether it's rough or smooth, or whether you like the touch or you don't like the touch. Next one is the 10th one, the stomasensory association area. And because of this area, we evaluate weight, texture, temperature, etc. for object recognition. So I can demonstrate this with a very easy example. You are blindfolded and you are given an object. The person who is giving you an object knows that that object is sandpaper. So you feel the object just to know what it is. It is lightweight. So you might assume it is some kind of cardboard or some kind of packaging. Then you see for the texture. You find it's really hard. Temperature, well, upon rubbing the paper, you find some kind of friction, and that friction creates heat. So you might automatically think that this is some kind of rough, textured, thick material. The 11th one is the Wernick area, and that area is important for comprehending written and spoken language. So, whenever you read anything, you read it spontaneously and you understand the meaning as you read along. And when you write, you just write without thinking much about the meaning of words. Well, this area helps us to comprehend or understand what we are writing and speaking. So it almost happens as though it's magic, simultaneously, spontaneously. Well, for the 12th one, it is the motor function area, and it is responsible for motor function, eye movement, and orientation. So whenever you look up, you see what's up. Whenever you look down, you see what's down. And that's because your eyes are coordinated, and your brain makes sense of what your eyes are seeing. So that is the function of the motor function area. The 13th one is higher mental functions, and it is form a part of the frontal lobe, and this area helps in concentration, planning, judgment, emotional expression, creativity, and inhibition. So it controls virtually all the aspects of what we do, and it is the largest lobe out of the four lobes that we have. The front and the four lobes are the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the temporal lobe, and the occipital lobe. So it's the largest one, and it has many different functions, and sometimes people have more ridges in their frontal lobe. That is a sign of higher intelligence, like for example Einstein. Now that we're done learning about the areas of and the function areas of the cerebral cortex, we will learn about the functional areas of the cerebellum. So the cerebellum is a small region in the brain that is necessary that is necessary for controlling motor functions such as coordination of movement, balance, and equilibrium posture. So that means that because of the cerebellum, you're able to stand still and not wobble around, move properly and not just move like a jerk in a jerkish manner, and keep your balance steady while you're doing various different tasks. So friends, that's all for the brain. I hope you learned something new today, and stay tuned. You can subscribe to my channel, and I'll be uploading new videos. Stay safe, everyone. And if you have any questions or want to say something, you can always email me. My email is in the description box. And yes, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.